I'm looking at two particularly difficult sections of Sonata Pathetique that I help students work through as I help myself. And I do them in a layered fashion. I'm looking at where you have the broken chords in both hands going in opposite directions and building into a major crescendo. Now, what I start with the students is I really want them to block the chords out. I also want them to be where there are octaves on the outside. And assuming we start by blocking chords, we see in the right hand here in this section, we see E flat chord outlined without the fifth, but we see a chord of E flat. And we see it again. And we see it again. Now, if you're assuming that you're in E flat major at this particular point, which happens to be the relative major of C minor, which the Pathetique's written, now you're going to go to the 4 chord of E flat. That's the new Do. Thinking of Do as E flat, then this is a 4 chord, an A flat chord. Now here's a secondary dominant of the 2 chord. You could say he's doing a dominant of F minor. He's doing it again. He's going up in steps on the outside. You can hear the steps. Now we have a little chromaticism. Chromaticism means half steps. Now I also notice as I see F's in the middle, that I drop into the middle, that are F, F, F with 2, 2, 2. That's important technically. Another F, half step, another F in the middle there, half step, and then finally the E flat, and then this is a augmented chord. And then he has the 4 chord, and then he has the 5 chord, and then he resolves it down. Now I'm just doing the right hand. There's the playing. Now we have the 4 chord, then a secondary dominant of F minor, which is the 2 chord, another secondary dominant of the same 2 chord, going in half steps, half step, whole step, getting louder, half step, here's the E flat chord, half step again, it goes higher, it's different from the first part at the end, and then 2 chord, 5, 1. I'm filling in a little bit in the left hand. The left hand, we have to watch what's happening. Now, if you notice, the right hand treble is going up, basically going up as its shape. The left hand, on the contrary, is going to be going down. Students should notice that, but should start blocking the chords. Here's D flat. That would be like a 7th chord put on the E flat chord. We know when we do a tonic 7, it leads us to the 4 chord. Here's that secondary dominant that we saw on the right hand of the 2 chord, so 5 of F minor. Again, same thing. Notice the bass. Bass is descending. Bass is descending. Descending. B flat chord. E flat. 4 chord. Octave. And then 7th ball, and listen to the ball, This is another secondary dominant here. You can hear it if you fill it in here. It's a secondary dominant of the dominant. It's a B flat major. And then straight down. And finally, 2 chord, 5, 1. Now, once you've established the movement of the bass down with reflecting the same harmony that's above, you're just filling it in, then you start putting them together with the blocks, and you get, here's the 7th bass. And you want to listen for the outer voices because they're going in contrary motion. Listen to the outer, top, and bottom. certainly want to be internalizing the soprano going up. And in a sense, you want to hear the outer frame. The outer frame is very important through this because he has punctuated staccatos on, you know, every single beat. The first of the 4 eighth notes has, you know, the staccato, which traces the path of both the bass and the treble. That's another maneuver you could do. You can kind of go, you can use the octaves if you want in the right hand, because the right hand always has that frame of the octave as it's moving along, whereas the left doesn't have always the frame of the octave. What I mean by frame of the octave is here you have an octave on the outside, here, 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 you hear the octave. So, you know, you can just sort of, you know, pick out your octaves too. Bum, 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 and eventually bum, 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 changes, bum, bum, yum, bum, bum. What you do? Next thing to do is to block the hands together. To side, you feel your elbows are very loose, you have swinging arms all the way through the passage. I'm going to do on that one.